Carter is with us this morning, and you've got some new dials for us, including reaction to Donald Trump's comments after the Charlotte protests, where he touched on the state of the African-American communities. Let's listen to that, then I want to get your reaction.
We're going to rebuild our inner cities because our African-American communities are absolutely in the worst shape that they've ever been in before, ever, ever, ever.
What were we watching there, Lee?
Okay, so you can see the red line there was Republicans, yellow independents, blue Democrats. Now, Donald Trump has been performing very, very, very well over the last 3 weeks. Here, he didn't do quite as well. He got a B from both independents and Republicans, and part of the reason was people appreciate that he's reaching out to the African-American community. People appreciate that he's out there talking. They appreciate his strength, but in some ways, they say it's a little bit condescending here. It's like the worst ever, ever, ever. It should be like, I get that people are struggling. I feel your pain. But instead, people are feeling like it's a little bit out of touch. And so this isn't his strongest message. It's certainly a little bit better than he said, what do you have to lose by supporting me? But again, he's got to tighten up his message when he's reaching out to the African-American community.
When you look at Hillary Clinton and how she responded to the New York and New Jersey bombing attacks, watch this, get your reaction.
I've been briefed about the bombings in New York and New Jersey and the attack in Minnesota. Obviously, we need to do everything we can to support our first responders. I think it's always wiser to wait until you have information before making conclusions.
What was she going for here?
That was pretty much a flat line. Now, the thing that I found really interesting is people said, look, I get that she's trying to be the anti-Trump. She's trying to be calm. She's trying to be cool. She's trying to be collected. And yet, this isn't what people want to hear at a time like this. People want strength. People want passion. People want to know that you're responding. She simply missed the mark here. And you could see with independents, with Republicans, she really didn't resonate. Even with her own base, Democrats barely gave it a C. It was a flat line. People want to hear her. They want to hear from her. They want to hear what she's going to do. They want to hear that she's upset, that she's frustrated, and she's got a plan. She hasn't done anything to reassure folks since all this happened, and I think it's really going to hurt her.
It's such a critical moment in time. Anything either of them say is going to be picked apart, and it's going to drive the vote.
Yeah, that moment was a passionate moment for everyone in this city and everyone that was in a state where that was involved. People were scared, and she didn't look like she cared at all. She looked like she was like, let me get this over with so I can go back to sleep. And that affects people who do care. Yeah. Like, I care, why don't you?
I think there's also an underlying policy problem for her, and this is really both Clintons. You go back to 1993 in this city, they view terrorist incidents as law enforcement issues, and we've seen that in this case. The defendant has been Mirandized and is now lawyered up. I think it's a generally soft response to terrorism, which is communicated in her tone and in her words.
Yeah. You know, it really is a fascinating time because we've seen historically Americans come together in times of crisis. When we're going through turmoil, it doesn't matter if you're a Republican, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat. Right now, we're at a time where we are extremely divided in the face of crisis. The enemy is not supposed to be Republican or Democrat. The enemy is very clearly in front of us right now. We've got ISIS. We've got all kinds of problems with violence. And we should be coming together. And instead, what people are saying is they feel that she is dividing us even more than Trump, because Trump lately has been on this very unifying message right now. You could even see the way he's responding to Charlotte. He's saying, this is time for us to come together and put all this aside. And they want to hear that from her. They want to hear from her. And she's been relatively quiet this week.
That's called leadership.
That's right.
Bringing us together. Lee has more for us on the dials and what the public is telling us. We are covering the debate live, obviously. Fox Business Network is going to be live Monday night. Join us Monday beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern for the coverage of the first presidential debate.